The final trailer for The Dark Knight Rises has arrived, and it's safe to say pants were shat all across the land.
Surprise, there's a new Call of Duty coming out.
And there's some new pictures from Quentin Tarantino's new movie, Django Unchained.
Django, not Django.
Okay.
Today is Friday, May 4th, 2012. Welcome to Pretty Much It, and may the 4th be with you, Star Wars fans. I know it sounds like I have a speech impediment, but it is May 4th, so may the 4th be with you.
That's dumb.
No, it's kind of cool.
No, it's not.
Before we get into the usual spiel that we give at the front of each episode, I just want to let you guys know that part of the Pretty Much It crew, Kevin, who you know from the Monday show, he got picked as a finalist in a contest, and if you'd like to vote for him, which we would really appreciate, and of course he would really appreciate, you can click the link down in the info that says vote for Kevin, and I figured I would tell you this now because you know what we're going to say, Facebook, Twitter, links in the info, all that stuff. You can take this time to go vote for Kevin and help us out, and I'll be upfront with you guys, there's a lot of you, and you know, he's in the finals, so...
We're just using you. We're using
you.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you are just being used. But in all seriousness, Kevin, I know would really appreciate it, so if you can help him out, that's awesome. If you don't want to, then that's fine as well. So let's move on. If you're not following us on Facebook and you have not liked us on Twitter? I goofed that up! If you have not liked us on Facebook and you're not following us on Twitter, there we go, you can click the links down in the info to go do that, and also there are links down in the info to all of this week's reviews. We had a review of the Walking Dead video game episode 1.
Yeah.
We had an Avengers recap in 2 parts that I did, and then of course, we've got the review of the Avengers, so definitely check that out. Owie! And finally, if you're new to Pretty Much It, we have a feature called Choose Your News, where all along the bottom of the screen, no, that's not magic, it's annotations.
It's not an illusion.
It is real.
It's actually there.
And you can click it, and it will take you to all different parts of the video, different topics, anything you want to see, or of course, if you want to be just super awesome, you can just watch the whole thing through. So let's get into this week's news, starting off with movie news. Now, not only is today Star Wars Day, but it's also Avengers Day, because Avengers comes out in the US today. And I know it's been out internationally for a week now
Which
or
has
so.
confused me. Why would the Avengers come out
Of all
internationally?
things, you know, there's a lot of movies that I could see coming out early. Like Avatar, sure.
Yeah,
put that
the
somewhere
Avengers
else.
starring Captain America.
And it takes place in New York. But, you know, I guess we gotta give the rest of the world something cool sometimes. Am I right, boys? Oh, USA! 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 So in honor of the Avengers being released today, not only did we have recaps this week, but we are going to start off with some Avengers news in the sense that it's Iron Man and Hulk. Starting off with Iron Man. Now, the first bit of news, this is actually from a few days ago, at the end of last week after we shot. It was announced by Kevin Feige, or I heard it pronounced differently, though, recently, so I don't know what the heck it is.
Kevin F.
Kevin F, yes. Kevin F said that in terms of Iron Man, they plan to continue the series rather than rebooting it like you would think, but they will replace Robert Downey Jr. when he's ready to leave with someone else.
No.
Well, he described it as James Bond.
No, that's all wrong. I
Why?
mean, first of all, there's 2 things wrong. First of all, you can't get better casting than Robert Downey Jr.
That's the thing. That's
and
right.
The second thing is that Tony Stark is Tony Stark. He's not like James Bond where you can just pass the name on. You know?
Right, and I feel like it just won't work only because Robert Downey Jr. is perfect as Iron Man.
You
So
can't get better casting.
Yeah.
And how many Iron Man movies can they pump out? He's not that...
Which is true. Like, Iron
Yeah.
Man doesn't have a lot of really
Tricks.
exciting stories. I mean,
Yeah.
like, he's a guy in suit of armor. He might blow some stuff up.
I feel like all that would work with Iron Man in the future, I mean, they're going to do Iron Man 3, but I guess just Avengers. Or, like, you know, I feel like from here on out, they really just have to keep doing, like, mashups and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man and Spider-Man or something like that. Like, who knows?
But
But
the Iron Man and Spider-Man movie.
Just,
like,
yeah, you know, the Iron Spider, I don't know. They just keep doing stuff like that. That's the way I could see it working. I feel like it's going to definitely get stale after a while, like anything does. It's fair. You know, things don't, you know, go on forever and continue to be that exciting. So, I did think it was interesting, though. It's an interesting concept, and I was surprised they were dancing around with it.
Yeah, that is.
You know, I do think that they will do it eventually, though. And I do appreciate that they don't want to reboot if they can help it, so that's good.
Yeah.
How many times can we see, like, an origin story, you know?
Oh, yeah. They can't do the origin story again. I mean, to be honest, that was definitely the weakest part about Iron Man, was the origin.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
That's my
But,
favorite part.
okay, well, I guess it would be, Jake, because you usually tend to be the opposite of us, so, you know, it's kind of a thing that tends to happen often, and he said one thing, you said
You should
the
just
opposite.
shut up forever, Jake.
Moving on to some more Avengers-related news, we've got some Hulk news that came out this past weekend. Very possible that another Hulk movie will be on the way. Now, let me explain why. Kevin F. said that there were no plans to do another Hulk movie. He actually literally said, well, we tried it twice. Avengers was the 3rd try, you know? And it was like, that's it. That was it for us. And to an extent, I'm like, I agree. How many times can you do this, I guess?
Yeah.
But they said that, and we have not seen the Avengers yet, but they said the response of the Hulk in this movie has been so amazing, or dare I say, incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
You see what Eric just did there, guys?
But apparently Hulk steals the show in the Avengers, and people are really amped to see another Hulk movie, and so, I don't remember who said it, I don't think it was Kevin, it was somebody else, another suit, said that based on the reaction and the feedback, really from nothing more than merchandise purposes and the fact that it will sell a lot of tickets, they might do another Hulk movie.
Now, a couple years ago, I would have said, like, how the hell are they going to do another Hulk movie? Because, right
after Norton's, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, in the comics, they came up with a lot of new stuff. Like, there's Red Hulk now.
And, there's a lot of different ways I guess it could go, but... I say I could see it happening just because if Hulk was great in this one, then, go for it. Why not? Apparently, Ruffalo blows it out of the park. So
you think there'd be Ruffalo in the other movie still?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. He's signed on for a six-picture deal. Yeah,
Whoa!
But that also means cameos and stuff like that, I think.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think that means fun things. There's no way that they're going to do six movies
Hulk
with him.
Yeah,
even if you count 3 Avengers movies in total, they're not going to do 3 Hulk movies. No chance. And that won't be for the next 40 years if they were to get that done. Moving on to some news that has been a bit controversial, not only in our comments section on our last episode of Pretty Much It, but just in general, all across the interweb. Last week, we talked about Peter Jackson presenting 10 minutes of footage from The Hobbit at CinemaCon in 48 frames per second, and people were not really that into it. And we explained why we felt that we wouldn't be into it either. We may not have mentioned that we have not seen it yet, technically, but we did discuss what it looks like and why we're not into it. And if you'd like to check that out, you can click the link down in the info to check out last week's episode.
And a lot of people in the comments, their main gripe was, you just got to get used to it.
You got to give it a chance and get used to it, yeah.
And for those people, we have a perfect video that you should explain.
If you'd like to check it out, there is a link down in the info to download 2 different clips. Now, you can't watch them on YouTube because YouTube does not allow 48 frames per second. But if you'd like to download the clips, I will put the link in the info, and you can watch a 24 frames per second version and a 48 frames per second version. Some very nice person on YouTube did it. Yeah, they put it together, and you can see for yourself the difference.
It's very big.
It's very jarring, and I gotta say, when we watched it back, I preferred the 24 frames per second.
Yeah, there's no way I could get used to it.
Here's the deal, though. This is what we did not really go into. I can understand why some people would want 48 frames per second, like James Cameron and Peter Jackson. What happens is, with 24 frames per second, and you can see it at the end of the clip if you check it out, in panning and stuff like that, there is an effect called strobing, where it almost kind of feels like it's like flickering because it's going at 24 frames per second and it's kind of just skipping along a little bit. I personally like that. I personally think that that's cinematic looking, and I like it.
Exactly. That's what we talked about last time. That looks good, but not for a cinematic movie. Maybe for like
48 frames per second, you mean looks good, but not for cinema.
Exactly.
Right.
Maybe for like a nature show or just like to show off something really neat looking.
Right.
But like for a movie that has, a plot and like it's just a movie, it doesn't work. It looks like real life.
The thing is, I understand, and that's what they're trying to do there. Like, it looks more realistic, and I'm like, but I don't want that. And now, we will be fair. We don't want that. We are saying our position, our opinion. You are obviously very open to you having your own opinion, and once again, to be fair, we have not seen it. We have not seen the footage, so we are only basing it on the concept, so keep that in mind. And, we didn't really say that enough, and I do want to say, to be fair, this is our opinion of the concept of 48 frames per second. We have not seen what Peter Jackson has done with it. Now, another thing that was brought up was, can't he just down convert to 24 frames per second? And at first I was thinking, no, he can't, because I was thinking, wouldn't it just be like every other frame then? You would lose the motion blur, and it would just be like,
Yeah.
But the trailer was in 24 frames per second. So I guess they can. I don't know how that works. I'll be honest. I don't know, any version of like how that could work, but apparently it does because the trailer was in 24.
But it sounds like Peter Jackson is saying exactly what we thought he was going to say, which was, just give it time, guys.
Well, not only did he say give it time, but and I don't know if you know, but it's actually being released in 6 formats. It's being released in 2D, 3D, IMAX 3D, 48 FPS 2D, 48 FPS 3D, and 48 FPS IMAX 3D.
That's ridiculous.
I thought they were also releasing it in 24. I heard they are releasing it in 24 frames.
That's what that was the first section was 24, and then there's 48.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't say it, but yeah, 24, and then there's 48 is a whole separate thing. That's right. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy though when you think about it, because it's just like it's like selling something.
Yeah,
there's so many
6
options.
versions,
and it's almost like everyone's seeing a different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little crazy.
And you know what? If that's the case, if they are releasing it separately, I will probably see 24 first, and then I'll go back and see 48. I think that's the way I'll do it. But I will give it a chance just to see it because I need to talk about it. I have to be able to see it. I can't just talk about it, I guess. But the thing is, the worst part of what Peter Jackson said was he said, in response, he heard all about it. Of course he heard all about it. In response to people having a negative reaction to it, he said, give it a chance. And then when the person asked, what if after they give it a chance, they still don't like it? He said, it's like talking to someone who doesn't like fish. You can't tell them why you like it, but they just don't like it.
What an asshole.
That is a crazy thing to say. I get what he's saying, and it scares me. That scares the hell out of me, because that means that he just doesn't even care.
That's exactly what we said last week. It's all about the green.
So once again, let us know what side of the fence you're on, I guess. But keep in mind that, this is our opinion. You're open to having your own opinion, of course, and that's fine.
No, you're not.
But we are, you're not allowed because it's YouTube. But we are basing this on just the concept of 48 frames per second. We know what it looks like, and we're just assuming that it looks the same in The Hobbit because it's 48 frames per second. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens, I guess. But that's the latest update.
The first pictures of Quentin Tarantino's new movie, Django Unchained, came out, showing pretty much all the main characters. Leonardo DiCaprio as the villain, which is new for Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, yeah.
And Jamie Foxx and
what the hell's his name? Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz adds the two main characters.
Yes.
It looks really cool.
Yeah,
I was like, I really didn't know what kind of vibe.
I didn't know what to expect at all.
Yeah, it looks like all out Western.
Looks like a Victorian Western though.
Exactly.
It looks so bizarre.
Yeah, it had such a distinct style, despite being such a been there, done that time. Those pictures blew me away.
Oh,
yeah, and this is also something that's completely new to Quentin Tarantino too.
Right. Now I think Leo looks the coolest of all of them.
Yeah,
followed by Jamie Foxx, followed by Christoph Waltz, only because I feel like he's the least different looking, I guess. But I think it looks awesome myself.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I hopefully we'll see a trailer for that soon.
Really soon?
It's got to be
Well,
soon.
there's some big movies coming out that it could be with, so...
Oh, that's true.
So we'll see, I guess, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a trailer. I feel like we're going to be blown away by this thing. So definitely check those out by clicking the link down in the info. And finally, the last bit of movie news we have for you this week is some deeply disappointing news, and I will have to explain why. You might not know why it's disappointing, but I will tell you why. I will tell you that it is.
Preach it, Eric.
Yes, I will preach it. Here we go. There is a film in the works based on a book called The Secret Life of Houdini, The Making of America's First Superhero. Now, this book was bought, I guess the rights to make a movie out of it were bought by Summit Entertainment, and the news this week is that it's possible Gary Ross will be directing. Now, Gary Ross recently did The Hunger Games, and it was, very action-y and kind of all over the place, so that's the kind of style I guess you would expect. Now, to most people, that's like, oh, that's kind of cool, he's doing a Houdini movie.
Magic tricks, woo!
I read this book, and it's quite possibly the best book I've ever read, or it's definitely up there with the best books I've ever read. So I was very excited when I saw that the rights were purchased. And this was a while ago. When I first read the book, I looked up whether or not the rights were purchased to make a Houdini movie. Because I'm like, where are all the Houdini movies? I'm surprised that hasn't been done much. Then I read on that Summit plans to turn it into an Indiana Jones meets Sherlock Holmes thriller action series. And this is probably the saddest, I'm actually feeling empty right now and sick. It's the saddest, most empty news I've ever heard in my life because it's not at all an action Indiana Jones adventure thing. There is a portion of the book where he is a spy, but it's not to the extent where he's swinging around on vines and stuff like that, or infiltrating secret lairs. It's intellectual.
Magic.
It's intellectual stuff. You know what I mean?
Now, to be painfully honest, I really couldn't have seen this movie be made any other way. Unfortunately,
just because you know Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. Hollywood would never want to make this big movie and make it intellectual. We got to make it big and actiony for the general audience. So.
Now, it honestly, David Fincher could do this.
Oh yeah.
If David Fincher and Aaron Sorkin teamed up to do this, it would probably be the best. It would absolutely be the best movie of the year. I can say that right now. The story is incredible. It's so interesting. It's so cool. It plays out like a narrative. It's just unbelievable. And so this movie could really be incredible. But unfortunately, Summit is going to ruin it apparently, and Gary Ross is going to help. So if he's definitely directing it, I think he's in talks for it. So I just want to let you guys know to be aware that this movie could be incredible, but it's probably going to be terrible compared to what the book is, compared to what the actual story is, and I highly recommend that you check out the book. It's a quick read if you can sit down and read because it's very, very interesting. Check it out so you know how Hollywood is screwing up this incredible story.
Which is nothing new.
Nothing new, but it's just, maybe if you're not aware of it as much, it'll open your eyes for sure.
Moving on to video game news, after a lot of predictions and rumors and stuff, Black Ops 2 is happening.
Predictions and rumors? What?
Expectations and assumptions, I guess.
How was this not completely obvious?
I don't know anything about this.
Oh, no,
so
it was.
Give a little detail on this.
All right, well, now it's Call of Duty Black Ops 2. It has nothing to do with Black Ops 1. Well, It might. I don't
Except
know.
for a name, I
But
guess.
yeah, Black Ops 1 was Cold War. This is the future now. It's the year 2025, and the trailer showed a lot of cool action and drones and little robot mechs and horses. There was a scene where they were like riding on horses. I don't know. That was weird. Maybe
That's
they're robot
interesting.
horses.
Robot horses.
I remember when the first Call of Duty came out. I'm like, when are they gonna make a future one? Like,
Well, that's what I keep saying about like
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto, though.
Yeah,
So
like,
a lot of these guys could benefit from that. But,
now this isn't like like you just said. This is not like far future like laser guns and teleporters.
No, it's
this
not.
is just like
2025. Isn't
that's
that?
how how long is that? Like
It's
a
like-
decade.
what is that? That's a little over 10 years.
Yeah,
it's like
it's not
13
that far
years.
away.
It's really not that far away at all. It's kind of that's kind of like a big stretch because like they're showing like giant mechs with guns and
Yeah,
stuff
we're
like that.
not
Like,
gonna-
that's, I don't think
They
we're
weren't
gonna have
like
that.
they weren't like
maybe like
mechs, they were like little
2050.
tank.
Yeah, maybe.
2050 might have been a more safer bet. But.
Yeah.
When I first heard out, I saw a typo and it was 2225.
Oh God, that's
And I was like, all right,
We would be,
cool.
we're just gonna be mushed by then.
That's gonna be like
the whole near distant future thing has been done so many times
Yeah,
before.
Ghost Recon.
Deus Ex, Ghost Recon.
Uh-huh.
Actually, Deus Ex is pretty cool, pretty far in the future. Anyway, this is expected to have the multiplayer, the really good single player, which I tend to like. People love to crap on Call of Duty, but at the end of the day, they're like a well-made action movie.
It's
That's
not,
fun.
I don't
Yeah.
play them, but it seems like they're fun, but just repetitive. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, like, well, people like the biggest stink people will make about Call of Duty is it all looks the same. It's all
That's-
brown.
yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying,
all that
yeah.
stuff. Like like Jake just said, at the end of the day, it's like an action movie. Like I'm not expecting a Oscar-winning performance out of an action movie.
Right.
Just like I'm not
Expecting to have
expecting.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, that's fair. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal.
Yeah, people are
Oh,
pumped.
yeah, huge.
Really
Call
pumped.
of Duty is big with the little kids.
Now, and there was a trailer released, you said?
Uh-huh.
All right, so you can check that out by clicking the link in the info. Is that right?
Yep. Also, as a follow-up to last week when we reported it a little earlier before it was announced, PlayStation All-Stars was in fact announced.
And it's
And
called, what
we
is it
pretty
called?
mu- we-
PlayStation
yeah.
All-Stars Battle Royale, I think, right? It's a
Whatever.
long-ass title. But
And we like called all the characters like right off the bat. We were like
Yeah.
Kratos, Pepper the Rapper, and there was a couple people. I
Fat
was,
Princess, isn't it? They haven't revealed any
all of them,
characters
really.
yet.
Yeah, that's for sure. I know Sweet Tooth was in there.
Sweet Tooth was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
And now that was last week's poll. We'll get to that at the end of this video to see who you wanted to play as. But I guess are there any upsets so far or anything like that?
Not really, just the fact that it looks exactly like Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, I saw that.
And like it's funny in every interview when they say, did you get your inspiration from Super Smash Brothers? And like the guy will say, well, a little bit. But we're employing a whole bunch of other fight games, which is bullshit because it's Super Smash Brothers.
Like, just be honest.
It is
yeah.
Super
But
Smash
you know,
Brothers. so-
would anybody really mind if they just said like, "Hey, Super Smash Brothers was cool, and we figured we'd do
That's
it"?
what they need to say.
Why not? Just say it.
They're dancing around that.
Is there a
subject.
legal issue there? I don't think so.
No,
It's just
no,
they're
there
like,
isn't.
"Hey, we're making an all-around fighting game. Who cares?
Yeah, there's-
So you like Super Smash Bros. And we'll do it with PlayStation."
For the most part, what's going to make or break this, at least for me, is if there are a lot more awesome characters revealed. If there
Well,
aren't,
Yeah, they're gonna have to. Like how they only there's Sly Cooper,
There's
Kratos, Sweet
a
Tooth.
handful, I think
Yeah,
five. Or
five.
something.
If they don't release any more, it's gonna be forgettable.
Any more exciting. Like if there's just like crap, then I don't care. But
So
I want,
okay,
like,
so we'll have to follow up on that then.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, in terms of announcements, another exciting one, I think a little more exciting, is Skyrim is finally getting like a DLC expansion. It's called Skyrim Dawnguard, and all we have so far is a teaser image, and that's it. More info will be shown at E3.
Now, isn't Skyrim already like a huge game?
Uh-huh.
Like, does it?
How can you add more?
Yeah, does it need DLC?
That's the thing. It's just like how Oblivion was out, and then it sat for a while, and then they added the Shivering Isles, which is a whole other chunk of land and quest. So I think that's what they're going to do with Dawnguard.
Not a big Skyrim fan.
Yeah, we've
so-
talked about this.
It's
yeah.
cool because the teaser shows the main guy, like the guy that they show in all the promo images, with glowing eyes. And Dawnguard, I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like...
Correct you, I mean. Quote me if I'm wrong. Why
Quote
in
me
God's
if
name
I'm
would you want
wrong.
people to do that?
Quote me if I'm wrong because I'm a fool.
Please don't quote me if I'm wrong.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The Dawnguard were like an ancient race of vampire slayers in the world of Tamriel and Skyrim and stuff like that. So that could be really
I don't
exciting.
know anything you're saying. I have no idea what these words are anymore.
I don't have
I'm just
any
I'm just
friends.
like floating along.
Just sounds like I'm Jake. I'm a virgin.
And another interesting news tidbit.
Tizzle.
I'm Mrs. Nesbit.
In an interesting story for you cheap people, That's messed up. It's rumored that Microsoft will be releasing the Xbox 360 plus Kinect bundle for $99 soon. $99, but with a $15 a month commitment, and you pay, and that pays for Xbox Live and
For how
streaming
long?
service and stuff for 2 years, like a cell phone.
Whoa, that's...
It's like a cell phone, or it's like really any loan. It's
Yeah.
like a loan.
Yeah,
So this
it
is pretty much nothing.
Well, it's just
You wind up spending the exact same amount.
yes, but the whole point is you can afford $15 a month.
Yeah, people are like, oh, it
It's
actually
not
comes
that
out
bad.
to more.
The great thing about that is
I can't afford that.
It's
Yeah.
genius. Is like you don't see it really as that much because it's like it's only $15 a month. Like if you look at it as a whole, it's the full price. But if you look at it as only $15 a month, it's like, oh yeah, I could scrounge up $15 a month. You know,
Yeah,
so well if you
absolutely.
can, then you look at it as that, and it's not that bad. That's 2 hours of working a minimum wage job.
Yeah, that's not that bad at all.
Yeah, that's
I-
per month.
A lot of people are like, oh, well, it adds up to more, so it's not as good. Honestly, if you're poor, take this, because this is good.
Yeah. Well, or eat first.
Yeah.
Make sure you can eat first.
Well, no.
Are
Yeah, I
video
guess.
games more important than eating?
It's really up to you to decide, yeah. But I do think this is interesting.
Yeah.
Only because, like you said, you know, I mean, if you look at it that way, where like if you're more comfortable looking at it as it's only $15 a month, if that works for you, then that works. That's great. And you know what? I think you can still buy it full price, right?
You can, yeah.
So who cares? So it's just another option for people that might want to buy something in a different way, which a lot of people do. But that's the way I people pay rent. Basically, it's
Yeah,
kind of the same type of
it's the
thing.
same thing.
Except actually, it's even better than paying rent because eventually you're going to give up whatever you're paying for.
Yeah,
renting.
yeah. This you
but
keep.
with this you keep
It's
it.
an
Yeah.
investment, yeah.
So that's good. It's an investment. Yeah.
So now pretty much no one's going to have an excuse not to have an Xbox. There is, however, an early termination fee expected to be had, just like if you opt out of a cell phone contract early. And if that happens, or if you stop paying, apparently, allegedly, Bill Gates comes to your house and takes your Xbox. So-
Or I thought you were going to say the Xbox explodes.
well,
it
yeah,
sucks your soul
it's
in.
either way. It depends on what he's doing. He can actually remote.
He can like just kind of like remote appear.
He going,
And like right before it happens, his
blows
face
up.
appears on the screen, and he says, "You've been a very naughty boy."
And then he crawls out of the screen, he grabs you by the throat, he whips off his glasses, gives you a hard kiss on the mouth, and then squeezes and doesn't let go, and he just starts whispering Steve Jobs over and over again.
That's actually what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is. It's actually
wow.
it's how he gets into your TV.
So they literally send you the bill. And that's it for news this week. Next up, we're going to talk about the trailers that were released, of course, including the Dark Knight Rises trailer. That's a big deal. So stick around for that, but first we're going to take a quick commercial break. Welcome back to Pretty Much It. Now we're going to talk about the trailers that were released this week. Of course, as usual, all of the links to the trailers are down in the info if you want to check them out yourself, which I highly recommend doing. Let's start off with the big one, The Dark Knight Rises final trailer. Now, I think obviously there was no question that I immediately clicked this and watched it. I was not thinking like, oh, I don't want to see it. I wanted to watch it as soon as it was up, and I sat there and I let it load in 1080p HD, and I went at it. Did you guys watch it, or were you considering not?
I
You went
watched
at
it, and personally, I don't see the big fuss only because I saw the prologue in the movie theaters. 'Cause
Yes.
I saw Mission Impossible in IMAX. I saw all the other trailers, and if you've seen all the other stuff and the prologue, there's really nothing new in this.
Oh, I
stuff.
totally disagree.
Really? I didn't-
Oh, I totally
Yeah,
disagree.
there's
There
a
was
lot. I think
Catwoman fighting. There was the bat going over the.
That was.
end
I thought that
scene,
was the
yeah.
only new thing. Is
the,
like,
I mean, the bridge is exploding, and also
Oh, yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt looking like he's got a gun pointed at his
Yeah, he's
face.
like, don't shoot me.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of new stuff. I think it was worth it. I think it was well, and also the thing is, I can also appreciate that the editing was different than anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Can I just say, like, you know how it's so quiet
Yeah, I love with the one.
with that little note, yeah, for a while, and then it builds up. I almost feel like Christopher Nolan watched all the trailers that have been released so far, and he's just like, "You're all being too loud. Keep it down." You know what I mean? and then the whole thing is like silent. Like, you know, I actually was like playing
it
with the
builds.
audio when it starts. I was like, "Is the audio up?" Because like it showed the logo, and I was like, "It's completely silent. There's
Yeah.
nothing playing." Now I assume
I
you
like
liked
that.
it too, though.
I
you?
did, yeah.
Okay.
I liked how. I mean, I was excited, but not the most excited. But this
Me
trailer
either, yeah.
infused the energy
Yes.
that I think it needed.
This is making my top most anticipated list like fluctuate more than my bowels after I eat Taco Bell too
Is it
much.
Spider-Man, Batman.
Well, no, now
Okay.
it's Looper, then
Okay.
Spider-Man, then Batman. But I was like, is it Batman then Spider-Man? I don't know. And Avengers isn't on there only because we're watching it tonight, so
Yeah.
it's off my list now. But it's like fluctuating like crazy. It's fluctuating more than like my bowels after I eat too much taco. Oh, I said that.
Yeah, definitely looks good to me.
And I
like-
get what you're saying.
Yeah,
it is a
but-
lot of similar stuff.
But I also have to disagree that didn't change my excitement at all from the other trailers. Like, my excitement is still the same.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Oh, good.
But I'm not more excited.
No, more or less.
Yeah,
You're just
yeah,
the same. Okay, I can see that. I don't know that I am either, because like I said, I feel like when I was watching it, I was more excited. But now, like after a little while, I was like, all right, I'm still about the same. So, but I gotta say, I think that this trailer is fantastic. This is up there with. We should definitely do like a best trailers of the year.
Oh yeah,
thing.
it didn't
This
show
will be
too
up
much.
there. This is a very good trailer.
Didn't show too much.
Very
didn't show too
classy
little.
trailer. Yeah. So I mean, it's safe to say we are excited for The Dark Knight Rises. I definitely can't wait for it. Now, this was supposed to be opening with the Avengers, and it was of course released early. Another one that is being released a little bit early that's supposed to be with the Avengers in the US, of course, is the Amazing Spider-Man trailer.
Ready to play God.
There's been a biological attack on New York City.
Now, as of filming this, the trailer has not been released yet, so we cannot talk about it. However, if you'd like to see our reaction to it, you can click the annotation that just popped up. It will pause this video, and then you can come right back to it, and you can see a quick little reaction from us after we see the trailer. So that's what we'll do from now on, by the way. If there's anything that hasn't been released that we know will be by the time the episode goes up, we'll do that from now on for you guys. I don't know why we didn't think of it earlier, but...
Why did you think of
So there you go. So the annotation on the screen if you want to check it out now. But what I can say is some stills were released of the lizard in a lab coat. And Mark Webb did say, he was like, maybe he'll be in a lab coat. Now, I think this is probably going to be for about a minute, if even. I think he's going to turn into a lizard, rip off the lab coat, and go on, because he's not wearing it for the rest of the movie. We've seen it in the
Where's he
trailer.
going to put all his stuff, though? He's
I don't know,
like,
yeah.
little pockets and stuff?
Syringes and stuff.
Now, this is the first time that I saw like a still of the lizard and like wasn't like
Put off.
ooh, yeah, I'm usually kind of
Yeah.
put off like by
Agreed.
because like the Pez one.
Right.
Like, it's
Well, in
always-
all fairness, though, he does look like Ditko Lizard.
Yeah, which is good. Which is like they're going.
And you know what's funny? I actually think that there was such a confusion about it. Like people saying like he looks ridiculous and he looks just like the Ditko Lizard. They should have actually made a trailer that like showed like comic book to movie, like the
Yeah.
counterparts, because then they could have showed like it's exactly perfect, like But him in the lab coat, I'm sure when we see the trailer is gonna be pretty epic. I'm looking forward to it. So the link to that, of course, as well, is in the info. Another big trailer, I guess, released this week is the Prometheus 3-minute international trailer. I didn't watch it.
Me neither.
No.
I'm not watching any more Prometheus. I'm done. It feels like they're actually
Exactly,
showing
yeah.
way too much, and I'm done.
3 minutes is too long.
Yeah.
I remember they were like a new Prometheus trailer with tons of new footage. I'm like, no. That just the exact opposite of what I want. Go home.
But regardless of whether or not we choose to watch it, you can check it out by clicking the link down in the info. And I mean, honestly, I'm just saying, I've seen enough. I'm hooked. I'm ready
Yeah.
for Prometheus.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need to see any more. I'm done. Another big trailer released this week that you may not realize is a big trailer, but I can tell you is a big trailer, is for Beasts of the Southern Wild. I don't remember if I've mentioned this. I know I posted the trailer on the website, but I don't know if I've mentioned it in a video. Beasts of the Southern Wild, I saw it at Sundance. I think we did mention it once.
Yeah, I think
The
we
release
did.
date comes out, I think, in June. And I saw it at Sundance. It was an incredible film. Probably the best one I saw there. Maybe not my favorite, but I can acknowledge it was probably the best one I saw.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that it will be... Excuse the noise, there's a man blowing around my house, and don't get any ideas. But,
I had a penny
so,
for every time I heard that.
how many pennies would you have, pal?
2.
Just now, and then another time?
One other time.
But the trailer for Beasts of the Southern Wild was released, and you should definitely check it out by clicking the link down below. It is a fantastic film, and the trailer definitely shows, I think,
I'm sure
to an extent.
Really?
But-
Do you think it shows enough? Because like I watched the trailer, it looks good, but I have no idea.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't
no
show
idea.
enough, but in a good way. That's good because
right,
you don't
it's
want to
good?
see everything.
All right.
It does. It definitely would. If you watch it, you wouldn't know what it's about.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
what
you
it's
would
about,
not really know what it's about, but you can really what this trailer shows is the visuals, which are
looks
just
good.
that's like, oh my god, the visuals are amazing. And so that's really the main draw of this trailer. And I like trailers that don't give everything away, but it definitely didn't give much of the story away. And I'm sure you could look it up. I'm not going to get into it. But
Also looks like the first ever natural child actor. Like the first.
she is going to blow your mind. She might get nominated for an Oscar. Like
I hope so, because usually if there's a kid that's under like 10 in a movie,
they ham it up like
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
like,
awful.
My mom is an advertising agent.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you'll have to see this movie for sure. Definitely check out the trailer. It's worth it. And the last trailer we're going to go into at all is This Is 40, which is kind of the, as they say, the sort of sequel to Knocked Up. And I
Why
mean,
would that need any kind
well,
of sequel?
it's like a spin-off with Paul Rudd and what's his name's wife. I can't remember her name, but Paul
Judd
Rudd's
Apatow's wife.
Judd Apatow's wife,
Yeah.
but I don't remember her name off the top of my head. She's cool, but I mean I feel like it's the movie nobody asked for.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why couldn't they?
I'm not against it, but nobody wanted it really, did they?
Seems pretty dry. PMI.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure it'll be big just because it is, it's like that cast.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, I guess, to see how it fits in as a sort of sequel spin-off. So,
there could be good
maybe there will be
cameos.
like cameos. Yeah, that could be cool. But I feel like, I liked Knocked Up, but it doesn't really seem like the type of movie that it's like, oh, cameo from Knocked Up. Seems a little bizarre. But that trailer has been released, so there you go. Leslie Mann.
Right.
And some other trailers released this week were Hick, which looks interesting because it's Chloe Moretz. That's the only reason I want to see it.
It made me feel uncomfortable.
That's the only reason I want to see it, but,
Okay.
we'll see about that. Hideaway, The Loved Ones, Elena, Samsara, and El Gringo.
Which looks
Gringo.
awesome.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Watch that trailer. It
All right,
looks
there
like
you
an
go.
indie Mexican Max Payne type of movie.
There you
Cool.
go. And that's it for trailers this week. Now, moving on to the poll, like I said, we asked you guys last week, who would you like to play as in a PlayStation Battle Royale All-Stars, whatever the hell it's called, game. And, of course, the number one, I'm not surprised, was Crash Bandicoot. Now, has he
Good.
been announced? I forget.
No.
Now, I've actually heard
very-
some bad news.
Yeah,
about
I heard
that.
about that, too.
Only because there's a big licensing thing. Now, Crash Bandicoot belongs to somebody else right now.
They
So-
did say that they will be getting third-party characters.
So, okay,
but
so
I'm
that
not
would
sure
be-
if they'll be lucky enough to
Well,
get hit.
if Crash Bandicoot's not in it, I feel like it's over.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the
that-
big one.
As soon as I heard like a PlayStation Super Smash Brothers,
First thing
like
you
the
thought of?
only thing I could picture was Crash Bandicoot like spinning around.
Followed by the number 2, which we'll get to. But Crash Bandicoot was number 1 with 130 votes.
I'm proud of you guys.
With only 87 votes, we had Spyro.
Which is, I hear the same thing.
Same
about
thing.
Crash
I heard the same thing
Bandicoot,
about
yeah.
that. Sorry, guys. And then, of course, in third, we've got Nathan Drake at 57 votes.
And
Almost a
Nathan
gimme.
Drake is completely Sony.
And he's in it already.
so,
They've already announced
yeah.
it, haven't they?
No, they
Oh,
haven't.
they haven't? Why did I think
No.
he was in it?
They're gonna reveal him. I'm sure it's gonna be like.
Why
a
did I
big
think they
hype
did?
thing.
Okay, so I'm sure he will be in it, though.
Yeah, definitely.
But, so this poll may very well be, you guys may be let down.
Yeah,
or
which
you may
is
be very happy.
unfortunate.
But, yeah, that's legal stuff,
Good
unfortunately.
picks.
So,
I'm
but
proud
yeah,
of you guys.
I don't really know much about PlayStation games as much. I was a Nintendo guy, but, I know these characters, so that's good. So that's last week's poll. Now, this week's poll, we want to know, if they do replace Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Iron Man, who would you like to see, or who do you think could play Iron Man, Tony Stark, in a future movie if they do like the James Bond thing? Personally, for me, I say nobody.
Yeah,
Just
nobody.
because I really don't see who could play him. But, I'm sure, you guys probably know about more actors that you might be like, oh, he probably could. So definitely let us know by clicking the link down in the info to go to our Facebook page and vote in the poll. And while you're there, please like us on Facebook. Thank you if you do. And lastly, the giveaway winner this week is getting a copy of New Year's Eve or Haywire on DVD. I think that's what it
Nice.
was, right? So, either way you go is kind of something for any type of person you are. But the winner this week is Ashley Fossum, so congratulations and thank you for entering, Ashley. I will be contacting you about which DVD you would like. And that's all we got for you this week. That's all the news, that's all the trailers. I have to say, I enjoyed talking about things this week.
Good week.
Yeah, pretty big week.
Yeah, in terms of news, there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And, by the way, you didn't get kicked out this week. Good for you, but it's not because you weren't, an idiot. It's because I don't trust you. I don't. I really don't. Do you trust him?
No, I mean, who could? Look at his
Yeah,
face.
look at his face. Wow, that was, I felt your hair on my eye, and now
That was
I almost, yeah, I had to. That was just
If
pushing
I
it too
felt
far.
somebody's hair in my eye,
Yeah,
I would send them off into an oblivion. Too.
Yeah, well, but where is he? Oblivion? Where's he going? We need to get him
Who
back. Yeah, that was
cares?
just a quick one. I hope you didn't have any time to do any little tricks or anything.
Practice my headbutting skills.
Yeah. All right, pal. All right. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the Avengers if you go see it. Enjoy all the
Yeah.
trailers and stuff. Just keep watching them over and over like we are. I don't know if you guys have, but I've watched the Dark Knight one many times
I did
already.
too, yeah.
But thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you're enjoying everything about pretty much it. And that is pretty much it.
Big things.